Let's go. It's the Whity Show. Whity Show. Whity Show. Whity Show. Whity Show.
Which one, old man, that ain't got to shake your head? Get that side check, put it in pockets like it's back, going downtown.
Mass Effect Andromeda is a game that is starting the series anew in a way. It's going away from the trilogy. It's starting its own world or its own galaxy, and you go to these new worlds and kind of you're this pathfinder who wants to kind of build this civilization with other aliens. This is kind of like uniting everybody together, whereas the last series was very much introducing a couple of characters, but it gets into this epic storyline of taking out the Reapers, the main enemies in the last series. So this game feels very different. It is a whole different cast. There's very few references to the old game. So saying that, this game has come off a lot of controversy. We're not really going to get into that. This isn't really the video to do that. If you want to see more of that, you can go to my I Played Mass Effect video, and it was good. But this is all about Mass Effect Andromeda. Is it worth picking up? What's the good? What's the bad? I'm about to give it to you right now. Let's go.
Which one, old man, that ain't got to shake your head? Get that side check, put it in pockets like it's back, going downtown.
Let's start off with the best stuff about this game, because there is a lot of good and there are negatives, and we're going to get to that. So let's start with the good. There's this new cast and this new world, this new galaxy that feels fresh. All these people have their own unique personalities. Now, it is hard not to compare to the old trilogy, because you do have a Krogan on your team and a Tyrion and all that, but at the same time, each of them gives their own flavor, and you actually get deep into their storylines, which we'll go to later. But overall, as far as your cast and crew, I thought they were well done, well established, and even if you don't like a couple, just like any other Mass Effect or Dragon Age or any big game with a big cast of characters, there's definitely going to be a few that you're going to bond with. So I really like that, and I do like this new Andromeda galaxy and going to these different worlds. I think they were mostly fun to explore, and they all had a different vibe and look and feel to it with different species on it that made it unique. I think there's really solid voice acting for the most part. There are a couple of duds, and we'll get to that later, but really the game has solid voice acting. Some of them are actually famous actors who are on TV shows and movies, but on the overall spectrum of how many people have voice acting in this game, and there's a lot, I think most of it is pretty solid. Now, this is coming from someone who's been playing a lot of games for many years, from Final Fantasy to Uncharted. It's hard to get games that have excellent voice acting, and there's a few out there, like ones I just mentioned, like Uncharted, but they usually have a way smaller world. This game has a huge world with hundreds of characters, so overall I think the voice acting is pretty much on top there. It's not the best I've ever heard, but for the cast and crew, I think they're all solid, and then the world itself, it does its job.
So, no one has ever seen the inside of one of these places? Really?
None who lived to tell. Prisoners who go in are never seen again.
So there's this new combat system. It's you get to dash and dodge. I think one of the best features is that it feels quicker, more on point. One of the things is they took away the snapback cover system. So when you go up to cover, you can't just stick to it. You actually, he kind of just automatically covers by crouching down. It mostly works, though there are some issues with it once in a while. But for the overview, once I got past the first 5 hours of getting used to this, I thought it worked really well. It kind of reminded me of like something like Horizon. There's no like set cover, you just hide behind something and then you move out of it and so on. So I think it works well once you get used to it. I also really like the powers in this game. That's something that is another positive to me. The powers and switching profiles. In the old games you used to pick like a class, like the Vanguard or the Soldier. In this game you can just switch, and the more points you put into each special, like Soldier or Tech or Biotics, the more you unlock in that class, the more bonus you get for that class. So I really like switching between the different classes on the go, and I also like most of the powers, and I like that they all have their pros and they all have their cons. I thought that was really well done. So overall, the gameplay itself, the moving around, the fighting, the powers, I always thought that was pretty good in Mass Effect, and it's only gotten better as the series has gone on. Now, I touched on the crew, but I also want to mention that their side stories, their missions, their loyalty missions are really well done. In the previous games, I always liked them because they were kind of separate from everything else, but it was usually you did one loyalty mission and it was over. In this game, it spans. Like you can start, like say for example, Drac, the Krogan. I started with his side mission, his loyalty mission, and went through the entire game playing his loyalty mission throughout different various worlds. I thought that was smart. It doesn't feel like it's just cut off. It makes it feel like it's part of the main story. So overall, I enjoyed almost all the loyalty quests in this game. I think this was the one game where I liked them all. Even if I didn't like the character, like say Liam or someone, the side quests themselves were actually really fun, and they usually make you decide on things that aren't as easy just to pick. So I really like that. So overall, I think that the loyalty missions in this game are both fun, and I think that it gives a lot of characterization to your crew, so that's always a plus.
It's the least they could do, making us come all the way out here to kick their sorry asses.
The worlds, like I said, they're fun to explore, and each one's unique. I'm not going to get too into it because I kind of talked about it in the beginning, but I think that each world, when I got to it, I wanted to explore it. That's something special. There's not as many worlds like you're thinking, oh, there's going to be like 50 worlds. No, I think there's maybe like 5 actual worlds where you can put outposts and conquer and, you know, build, and then there's a couple of smaller ones. But overall, I really just love the fact that it feels like each world is its own living, breathing world, instead of just feeling like here's the desert and then the rest of the worlds are going to be like that but a little different. No, you got the ice world, the jungle world, the desert world, all these different worlds, and I really enjoyed most of them. And the last good thing is the storyline is pretty solid. It is very much reminding me reminiscent of Mass Effect 1, that it's more about exploring and learning this world and these people than really giving this epic storyline of survival and so on. So the main villain was kind of a letdown, we'll get to that, but as far as the storyline, I thought it was building this cast up, which I'm assuming some will return for the second one, so I thought that was
There's
well
only one
done.
thing getting destroyed here today, and that's you, and this place, and also your boss, and probably your entire crew. So a lot of things are getting destroyed here, actually, and all of them are yours!
But saying that, the storyline isn't nearly as epic as the last 2 games in this series. Mass Effect 2 and 3 were epic in the sense that I was on edge playing those games for the first time, and then even the second time. Whereas this game, the storyline feels good. You kind of learning the villain, and he's weird and stuff, and their race is pretty fucked up, what they can do and what they do. But overall, it just didn't give me that epic feel. I'm not even gonna lie. I was more invested in the storylines of my character and crew than the actual main storyline here. Also, there's some funky dialogue. As I said, there is some bad dialogue in this game, and some of the voice acting to go along with it. However, if anybody's played Mass Effect 1 to 3, there's always been funky dialogue. Same thing with Fallout, same thing with Witcher 3, and even Horizon. Like, all these great games all have that, so I'm so surprised that people are focusing on it. But again, this video is not for that. There is some really bad dialogue once in a while. It's usually the side quests that have it. On top of that, let's get into what else is not so great. Like I said, the voice acting. Sometimes it can be a little bad here and there, and it's mostly side characters. I would say that for the most part, the main character, Shepard, oh my god, it's a Shepard, Ryder, sorry, and his crew are all well done, but there is some bad voice acting here and there from the other people. Now let's get to the 2 things that actually affect my score. Those are just somewhat there, but what really affected my score is the animations. They really could have used some more. Now, does this make me stop playing the game? No. I went through Fallout 3, which has the worst animations I've ever seen for a big budget game. Same thing with Mass Effect 1. I don't think a lot of people played Mass Effect 1. They just jumped to 2 and 3. The animations were terrible in that game. But overall, when you're looking at this game, you're like, this could have been better. And there are glitches, which is really annoying. It's the animations go along with the glitches. I'm putting in that one category where things will actually not load and not look right. People are just standing there, and that's just not cool for a game. Now, I give it a break because the world is way bigger than any Mass Effect game before it, but playing Dragon Age Inquisition and Witcher 3, I did not have nearly as many glitches or problems, and one of those games comes from the same company, so I'm trying to wonder what happened here, if it was a little rushed at the end, so that really kind of affected me. But the thing that affected me most is the fetch quests. They fucking suck. Now, listen, this is what I learned from Dragon Age Inquisition. I love Dragon Age Inquisition. I played it, the storyline I really enjoyed. the fetch quests in those games were the worst thing ever. So in this game, when this game was giving me side quests, some of them great. Some of them literally are fetch quests where they want you to travel 6 different places to grab stupid items. They suck. What I learned, skip them. It makes your gameplay a lot better. So if you're expecting the quality of side quests like Witcher 3, where almost every quest in that game and side quest gave you a story with it, it made you feel like you were building towards something, this game literally doesn't do that. It's just fetch quests, and they suck. Now, that's half of them. The other half of the side quests actually give you a story, motivation to continue, and an end result, and sometimes a choice. So I really like that. So they improved from Dragon Age Inquisition in terms of side quests, but you still got those fetch quests. And my advice, do not even do them, or do them on your way if they're coming in your way of the main quest. Trust me on that.
Which one, old man, that ain't got time to shake your head. Get that side check, put it in pockets like it's back, going downtown.
Okay, so this review is a little longer than usual because I really want to get into the nit and grit. I'm not a biased fan. I will review a game playing out what works, what doesn't work, what's bad, what affects me, and what affects the main public or the general public. Some of these things I listed in the pros may not sound appealing to you. Maybe you don't care about this cast. Maybe you think the story sucks. Or maybe you just think the gameplay is way too different from the previous and you're not into it. So that may affect you. Me, those are all positives. Where on the flip side, for me, I'm not a big, like, the animation stuff doesn't affect me. I mean, I've been playing games so many years and so many low-budget games. I play almost 50 games a year, so these animations aren't as bad as people are making it out to be. Are they not up to par what I expect? Of course, but are they the worst thing ever and it stops me playing? Hell no. And on the same token, fetch quests are annoying and you can use that as a con, and I do use it as a con because they should be better. But at the same time, if you skip them and you play the ones that actually give you story, there's still plenty to do. You're still going to get 40 hours easy with good side quests and storylines. So there's that. So overall, Mass Effect Andromeda is almost like I want to love it, but there's issues that hold it back. And it's very reminiscent to me of Mass Effect 1, the exact same feeling where I love the idea of it, but there were so many issues like the long elevators, Citadel wasn't that fun to go through, and then there were just some lands were just boring landscapes with nothing to find, and so there were issues in the first one, the same thing with Andromeda. So I could only hope that 2 and 3 streamline a little and make it more exciting with a better storyline, less glitches, stuff like that. But as it stands, I still recommend Mass Effect Andromeda for any Mass Effect fan or any sci-fi fan. I think it does a very good job of giving you this new universe to explore and a cast and crew that you'll actually enjoy, especially when you get into their loyalty missions. So, cons aside, I still think it's a great game. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for my personal view. Now, if the cons that I talked about are a little too much, you might drop the score to more like a 7 and think it's just good, but too many issues. Me, I still think it's great because my enjoyment level is so high playing it because I'm having fun, but I'm not blind to the issues in this game. So, I'm going to shut up now. This is a long-ass review. I'm giving Mass Effect Andromeda an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great title, held back by a few issues that definitely could easily be fixed for the sequel, and hopefully they are, and we get sucked into this world even more because I'm interested to see where this cast and crew goes, and I think Ryder is an actual pretty awesome character. So everybody have a good day, and tell me what you think is the best Mass Effect you've played so far.
Joel, get her on the shuttle now! Resistance squad, come in!
Here, we're making good time.
Get your team out before the kid arrives.
Don't worry, we got this.